Hey everyone, welcome back to Ganam Academy, and today we are going to learn something very important in mathematics. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss more math lessons every week. So in today's lesson, we will be learning about basic laws of indices. Indices simply means power. For example, if you have 2 raised to 3, that is indices. The number 2 is the base, so in this case 2 is the base and 3 is the power. So by the end of this video you'll understand all the 6 main laws that help us simplify expression with powers. So indices are used in real life when dealing with large or repeated numbers, in science when calculating the population growth, in physics when working with energy, and computers when dealing with powers of 2. They also help us represent a very big or very small number in a simplest way. So we are going to use number 2 as our base, and the power we are going to use in different, like for example 3 or 4 mostly, so that we can see in example. So just to let you know that we have 6 laws of indices. The law number 1 is multiplication law. Number 2 we have division law. Number 3 we have power of power. And number 4 we have power of a product. Number 5 we have zero index law. And number 6 we are going to have negative index law. So without wasting any time, let's jump to multiplication law as our number 1. So in multiplication law we are going to use A as our base and N and M as our power. So for example, this law states that if you have a number, let's say use A raised to N, then we multiply by A raised to M. This is basically A raised to N plus M. So when we multiply numbers with the same base, we add the power. We have this number, we have this power, and we have this power. It is the same as taking this number and then we take the powers and we add them together so that we can have something like this. For example, let's say we have 2 raised to 2 times 2 raised to 4. So basically we can do this by 2 methods. For example, 2 raised to 2, that is 2 square, which is equals to 4, and 2 raised to 4 is equals to 16. So we can take these 2 numbers, that will be going to have 16 times 4, which is equals to 64. But using the multiplication law of indices, we have this 2 square times 2 raised to 4. This is the same as 2 raised to this 2 plus 4. This is the basically means you have 2 plus 4 is 6, which is the same as 64. So this is the multiplication law of indices. In other words, what we mean, so the law that we should know at multiplication law is this one. This is the multiplication law. A raised to n times a raised to m is equals to a n plus m. So let's go to the other one, that is the division law. So the division law is not very different from the multiplication law. Basically, if you have a division, just means the opposite. We are going to subtract, but for illustration, where if we have a raised to n, then we have divided by a raised to m. This basically means a raised to n minus m. So this is the formula. You should always remember this. So for example, let's say we have, so basically what this means, when we divide numbers with the same base, we subtract the powers. For example, we have 2 raised to 4 divided by 2 raised to 2. This one is equals to 2 raised to 4 minus 2, which is equals to 2. 4 minus 2, we are going to have 2. So this is the same as 4. So we can also do in a different way, where we be having this 2 raised to 4 is equals to 16 divided by 4, which is equals to 4. So this formula you should always remember. Remember, I'm using these examples, but as I said earlier, indices help us calculate numbers with high value numbers, for example with trillions, millions, and etc. So let's go to number 3, that is power of a power law. So in power of a power law, this is when a power is raised to another power. We multiply the powers. So what basically this means is that if we have a raised to n, and this whole number we have, it is raised to another m. So basically what this means is that this a is the same as n times m. So this is the power of a power law of indices. You should always remember that. So in our illustration, we are going to use, for example, we have 2 square and the whole of it raised to 3. So we are going to have 2 raised to 2 times 3. This is the same as 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. So, and this basically means it is 64. I'm using small value numbers so that it can be easy for us to do so. So we can also use another method, that is method 2. We have 2 raised to 2 raised to 3, which is the same as, we can raise this one, which will be 2 raised to 2, it will be 4 raised to 3. So this one is going to be 64. But if it is a very large number, it will not be safe for us to just do this because the number will be very large. So this is just for illustration, but as you can see, this one is a bit shorter than this one. But if you are going to multiply with those with high values like trillions and billions, it is safer to use the power of law. So let's go to number 4. It is called power of a product. So in power of a product, when two numbers are multiplied and raised to a power, each gets the same power. For example, with our illustration, let's say we have a, b raised to n. So as I said, when two numbers are multiplied and raised to a power, each get the same power. So this a is going to get the power of n, and this one is going to be multiplication because the a and b, that is means multiplication, and b raised to n. So let's use an example. So if you have, let's say, 2 times 2 raised to 3, this means we are going to have 2 cubed times 2 cubed, which is going to give us, this one is going to give 8 times 8, which is going to be 64. Also, you can do like this: 2 multiplied by 2, we are going to have 8. 8 raised to 3 is equals to 64. So you can either use the power of a product law, and also you can use directly by opening first the bracket. But if you are dealing with number with high values, it is safer to use the 6 laws of indices. So let's go to number 5. That is the zero index law. So in the zero index law, for any number that is raised to the power of 0 is 1. This is the simplest one. Any number raised to 0 is equals to 1. So any number raised to, even if it is 1 million raised to 0, it is 1. For example, if you have 2, for example, if you have 2 raised to 0 is equals to 1. So think as equal power dividing numerator by 2, that is tutaruke part. So that is the shortest law. So let's go to law number 6. In the law number 6, we have a negative index law. So this is any number raised to a negative sign. So for example, you have a raised to negative n. This is going to be the same as 1 all over a raised to n. So this is our formula. A negative power means the reciprocal of the base raised to the positive power. So for example, if we have 2 raised to negative 3, this is the same as 1 all over 2 raised to negative 3. So we can have two methods. So for example, you have 2 to negative 3, this is the same as 1 out of 2 times 2 times 2, which is equals to 1 over 8. Or you can just say you assume the negative, we're going to have 2 cubed, which is equals to 8. But don't forget, this negative means it is in the denominator, so we're going to have 1 out of 8. So in other words, what I mean, as our recap, multiplication of the same base, we add the powers. Division of the same base, we subtract powers. That is the numerator all over the denominator. Power over power, we multiply powers. Power over product, give each factor the power. Power 0 equals to 1. Negative power, reciprocal of positive power. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you now understand the 6 basic laws of indices clearly. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like, share, and subscribe to Ganam Academy for more math video every week. Drop a comment if there is a topic you'd like me to cover next time. And see you in the next video, as we will be discussing how different powers of indices can be applied in real life and also in those large numbers. Thank you.